Okay, we're going to start with feet. So a lot of you have asked the same question. Am I doing feet or attachments? Yes. Okay, so we're going to start with feet. So see that pink package over there? Jack, can you reach that? Oh, yes, thank you. And the orange package? That one right here in the plastic box? And the green package? Perfect. All right, we're going to lay these out here. So feet come multiple ways. So I'm going to ask you a question. Besides Jack, are there any men in class? Good, I can tell my man jokes. Or dad jokes or whatever you want to call them. So I asked my husband once, how many screwdrivers do you need? How many hammers do you need? Okay, so his comment to me was, the right tool for the job makes it easier. So then I'm doing something in my sewing room and he said, how many feet do you need? I said, all of them. Because again, the right tool, I set the stuff up there and then the serger's in the room there. Brad, thank you. I found that truly the foot makes the job easier. Feet come individually, and it doesn't matter whether it's for a Bernina or a baby lock, they come individually, or you can buy them as a gift pack. So these are the gift packs. So these are 6-foot kits. Different colors stand for different feet. They buried my book. Hold on. I'm coming back, I promise. Okay. So if you came last year, you got fabulous gifts and prizes of this book. And this is like the Sears and Roebuck Wish book. Okay, so in here, do you see their heads shake, John? I mean, come on. So what I want to show you is, if I go in here, and I've got the Bernina book here also, so I can show both. If I go in here and I look at an 8-thread serger, everything is green. If I switch to the Sashiko or a 4-thread serger, everything is orange. And then I also have pink. So what I want you to see is that if you're, and I use this all the time, and it's digital on the Baby Lock website, what I want you to see is I have the 3 colors there. So a 6-foot kit, a 6-foot kit, a 6-foot kit. Why these 6 feet? They're the #1 sellers. And that's the #1 sellers in all brands. It's for a 4-thread also. So here in the Bernina book, they have the same feet. So when I show something in the Baby Lock and you want to know what the number is with the Bernina, I have a cheat sheet here, but anybody that's on the sales team out there, they can be able to help you. Just write down what foot it is that I showed, and they'll help you to get the right one. So I'm on a 4-thread, and I need to use the pink feet for this serger. And when I open it up, do not throw away the papers, because each foot has a paper that goes with it to tell you how to use it. Oh, and by the way, it tells you how to set the machine up. Yeah, be still my heart. So I take these and I put them on my scanner bed, and I make it an 8.5 by 11. I put it in a clear protectant holder, and I have a whole foot binder book that I use all of these in. So every foot we have comes with an instructional sheet, whether it's a serger foot or a sewing machine foot, and the attachments also. So I'm going to just pull a foot out. I don't have any idea which one it is. So we're going to talk about the first foot here, which has a B on it. So B is for beading. But how many of you really bead anymore? How many of you are going to make veils? Okay. Yep, some of you will. So this is going to hold pearls that go on the edge of a veil. But you could also put cording in there and sew over the edge of the cording and make decorative on the edge of something. Now, if you're going to use a cording, you have to use something that will fit within that slot. And I forgot to grab it. We'll get Lisa to grab it for me when I see her. This cord is okay in there. Rat tail is better in there. Rat tail is a satiny looking cord. They have a twisted cord out there that people use to make bracelets with, but that's a beading foot. So it's very specific, but you can actually get very creative with that depending on what you're doing. If you were to make, somebody in here makes costumes. Okay, there's a few, I thought so, there's a few of you. So if you were going to do cosplay or make costumes, putting a cord on something like a crinoline or something underneath, you can weight it. So it gives you the ability to hold it, to keep that length on it. So again, there's lots of things. I do not use my beading foot as much as I use the other 5, but I have played with that to kind of have fun with that. When I get that cord, I'll send it through there and show you. Now this one has a P5 on it. So the P5 stands for piping 5 millimeter. So you saw the cord I had here. So this cord, and I'm going to flip the foot over and show you. I should just leave the needle out of it, shouldn't I? Right? So this cord, when I flip this over, will ride in that groove. Does everybody see that? So I'm going to make some piping here in a little bit and show you how that works. I have a piece cut off. But I also use this foot to put a zipper in with. So that there's a little bag with a yellow zipper and serging on it. It's on the far right side. I had it towards the end, but somebody moved it. Yes. Thank you. So this is a key fob holder. You can put change in it. I made these for Christmas gifts last year. And my one friend who lives in Florida in the winter, she puts her change for the laundromat in it. And so that's what she uses it for. But this one, the zipper was put in with the serger. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I did that. You're just going to be Vanna for me. Is that okay? There's a gray or black or a blue, one of those zippers. Just hand me one of those. Yep, one of the zippers. I don't care what color it is. Whatever color your heart desires. Okay, so let's talk about this a minute. Right now, I have 2 needles in my machine. Do I need both of those needles? Probably not. Because we talked about that. If you were in the first class, we talked about that that's an overkill. So I'm gonna put the foot on and I'm gonna show you how to determine which needle you might want in. And it's really a personal preference and a zipper preference. Now, note to self, only use nylon zippers with this. You'll damage your foot with a metal zipper. Somebody will try it. Just remember I said you'll damage your foot with a metal zipper. Because what happens is that metal zipper scratches the inside of that groove and then it's not going to work properly. But there's somebody that always does. I'm the person that always tried things I was told I couldn't do. Okay? Like I put knit on the long arm frame in 2009 because somebody told me I couldn't. And it worked. I made a whole tennis outfit on the long arm. So here, when I put this in, that zipper is going to ride that groove. And there's a little notch at the top of the foot, which tells me where the teeth of the zipper go. So if you were to see straight down, it's right here. Now, be still my heart, take a deep breath. Okay? Oh, and I need to clarify something while I'm doing this. Brad, I had him verify this. This is the laser light that they showed yesterday, and he said, yes, it will work on the serger. Okay? So somebody asked that yesterday, and I said I did not know. And so I asked Brad. So if you wanted the laser light to shine where your zipper teeth are, or shine where your knife is, this can be attached to the serger. Now, the serger doesn't have a USB port, So you have to use the cube, plug it in, but it's a USB outlet. The other thing I want to clarify also is the foot that I showed earlier. There was some question about that foot that I showed earlier, which is the quilt binding foot. That is for the sewing machine. I top stitch my binding on with the sewing machine. There is not one for the serger. Do I ever top stitch my binding on the serger? No, but I do decorative stitching like the wave stitch I had on that one quilt that was on the table. Now, if I'm doing a bag and I'm putting a zipper in it, I want the zipper to be longer than my bag. And the reason why I need that is because I need to be able to get this all the way under the foot. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So I can't, I'm going to start it on the zipper and not on the fabric. Oh, Siri's talking to us again. And then I can look and see, okay, where are my teeth? They're in here. So my left needle is not intersecting in anything. So I could take the right needle out. Make sense what I'm saying? I'm going to sew it with all four in there since they're on, and I'm going to use those in just a little bit. You will sew and you will cut part of the zipper off, the edge of the zipper, just by where the knife is. It doesn't matter how wide I make this. It's just going to trim the edge of that, but it doesn't matter because it's encased with the serger. And I'll press I'll send this around when I'm done too. And I don't have to think about it. And Chris Tryon has a lot of videos on inserting a zipper into fabric, and I worked really hard. So there's my zipper.
That's a regular nylon zipper, not an invisible zipper, right?
This is a regular nylon zipper. Yep. So the question is going to be, how do I do an invisible one? How do you do it on your sewing machine?
That's just one half the zipper.
Yeah.
How do you put the other half?
Same way.
How do you make it match even?
So give me a minute. Yeah, you guys are throwing a whole bunch of questions. I can answer one at a time. Okay. First question was, what about as an invisible zipper? How do you put it in on your sewing machine? First, you have to iron the piece, and not too hot of an iron or you're going to melt the teeth of the zipper. Once you press that zipper, that needle will land where it needs to land in the invisible zipper, and it will work just like it does on a sewing machine. You have to use the left needle on an invisible zipper. You do not have to use the left needle on a standard zipper. May I have the brown zipper, please? So if I'm sewing this and I need to line up the other side, you cut a square out of your zipper where you need it to line up. So you close the zipper. So if I can have that before it goes too far. So I would close my zipper. You don't have to show me closing the zipper, Jack. We're good. So I'm going to notch out where I need this to land at my fabric. So I would literally cut a rectangle out of this, which also gives me the ability to slide that in and stitch it. And Chris Tryon, Tryon, Baby Lock, she has a video of putting zippers in and cutting that notch out. When you're, go ahead. Uh-huh. No, she has YouTube and SewEd both. Yep. She was one of the innovative people to help design the applaud. So here's my piping, my cording. It's inside of my fabric. You'll find what size to cut your fabric. Don't cheat yourself. Okay? You'll find what size to cut that. Once you find that size, make a note of it. So in my sewing room, I have a chalkboard on my wall. and I write things like that on it until I perfect it, and then it goes in my notebook with my feet and things for me to do. So once I have this set up, I'm going to set my stitch length, I'm going to set my stitch width, I'm going to set all of that up. I put the maxi lock woolly thread in both the upper and the lower looper on this, so somebody asked about that. This is still soft, this is still beautiful thread. It's just you can't use a hot iron on it. You have to remember it needs a cool iron. All right, so I'm going to start the cording under the foot. I do not have to start my fabric under the foot because the feed teeth of the machine on a serger are in front. So you see it pulled it in. So now I'm just sandwiching this, keeping that cord in that groove. And at home, I like to use an awl just to make sure that I've butted my cording up to this. So I'll use my Allen key for now, which makes it nice and tight. And I'm not going to sew all the way because I want you to be able to look at it. So there's our piping. It's very nice. Now I'm going to do the other side where I'm inserting it between two pieces of fabric. Because you know I'm about saving that time. So I've got my bottom, and I use binding clips all the time with my serger. I never have put a pin with my serger. So, you know, something to think about. Okay. So here again, I would want my awl at home, and I'd make sure that it was exactly where it would be. Now this is like walking and chewing gum. So I'm sitting on an angle, but let's see how I do. Not too bad. Ready?
Was that notch cut out just for an invisible?
The notch is cut out to line up the second side of the zipper when I'm putting it with the fabric.
Oh, the second.
It's just a placement line.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then they carry this, it's 60 cents a yard. So this is from the floor. I just pulled it off to show it. But it's the same size that I have inside of that piece. So any question about the piping foot? There's also a 3 millimeter, which is smaller.
What's the width of the seam? Is that most 7.5?
So she's asking what the width is on my seam. I did it the widest right now, but you could take it down. It doesn't have to be the widest.
But if you want it the widest, say you're making piping, you put in something you're not.
7.5 is the widest.
5 millimeters.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. And you'll see, and I'll turn this so you can see it. There are two numbers on a baby lock serger width. One is for your rolled, and one is for your regular standard. That's why they don't have enough space. So that's why you have that stitch length has a rolled side to it. To take the foot off, I'll do it from this side. You just push the button and the foot pops off. So to put it back on, there's a bar on the foot and there's a bar on the ankle. I line those up. See if I can do it blind. Put my ankle down on top of that, and I can push the button in the back and it just snapped into place. You can also, they're the same. They're the same. P stands for piping. The package says cording. A guy did that because a woman would have done it the same. Sorry, Jack. But it is. Piping and cording are the same. So let's go to the next one that's going to be like that, okay? This is the gathering foot, but it's also the ruffling foot, which is different than the shearing foot. Okay, so I'm going to put this one on. Now, let's talk about this a minute, and we talked about it this morning. If you're gathering, you are best, there it goes, you are best to get a 10-inch strip and take that 10-inch strip and do your ratio to figure out what do I need. So I'm going to do a whole bunch of gathers here, so be still my heart. I'm going to do it with not changing anything, okay? So I'm going to gather. Everything's where it was. And I put my fabric underneath and nothing happened. Does everybody see that? I'm going to put a piece on top. And nothing happened. You are going to go home and do this with your foot. Okay? Nothing happened. It will happen to you, and you're going to think there's something wrong with the foot. Has it happened to anybody? Yeah, it does happen. Okay? So, with this, I'm going to change my stitch length to the 4 and my differential feed to the 2. Remember I said this morning, stitch length will get you longer gathers. We talked about that, right? And there's a little piece underneath the foot. And what it does is it goes like this to gather it. If I was making a bed skirt or a ruffle on a little girl's nightgown, or I made my granddaughter ruffled pants when they were real popular, and she's 18 now, so that was a long time ago. I would put the piece I didn't want gathered on the top and the piece I did want gathered on the bottom. Okay? Trying to keep my hands out of Jack's way. That's the difference.
You still have to hold your finger behind it.
I hold my finger behind it because usually you want to help the fabric and then you're pulling your gathers out. So this is the back of the foot that does the gather piece. So now I'm going to do another one with a piece on top and a piece on the bottom. Right sides together. So pretty to pretty. And this one you have to lift the foot up because that piece is there. You can't get it as far back as you might need it. And this is one also that you don't want to rush. So excuse my hands trying to keep it out of your way. Ready? Barbie's got an apron if she only cooked. So the question is, how do you know the ratio? You have to do a 10-inch strip because every serger is going to be different. They never drive the same. So do a 10-inch strip, which will give you your 10 ratio. It's easier in 10 inches. Once you do it, you're going to go, oh, I got it. Yep, I always do a 10-inch strip. Now, the edge of that ruffle, I could have put a rolled edge on, and that would have been really pretty on that, and not have to do anything else to that ruffled edge.
I saw a video that said if you find the needle threads and pull them, you can gather it.
Yep, we're going to do that. I said I was going to do 2 or 3, remember? Yep. All right, anybody else? Okay, so I've got another strip here. This is where you need long tails. You cannot do this without long tails. Okay, don't even try. So here's my strip. And when I do this with my piece, the short ones, if they were all the same threads, will always be my needle threads. And then I can grab a hold of them and I will pull one at a time. I'll get them to here, and then I will pull one at a time to gather more. So if I needed to gather more, do you see it gathering? And it's going to come around and the needle thread is going to break. It's okay. It's just a little sample. All right, so that's how you gather. So that's differential feed, and gathering foot gives you twice as much as what you can get with just differential feed. Stitch length is longest. It is easiest if you do the widest stitch. If you try to do a gather on a narrow stitch on a right needle only, it is actually harder because your fabric wants to pull different directions. So I always suggest that if you're doing a gather, do a wide piece of fabric and a wide stitch. Questions on that? Clear as mud? A little clearer? Okay. All right. So 3 and 5 on the millimeters of the piping, I told you that. Gathering, you figure out the ratio just by what you're doing. I thought I pulled another foot over here. I did pass one around? Nope, we're good. We are good. So so I passed around the piping foot, right? Okay. So that was the 5. This is the 3. So see how small this one is? So that would be for your real fine teeth zippers or your real fine teeth cording. Okay. Now the next one I have is a little different. And this is one of those that you will set the serger up for whatever stitch you want. And most people do the flat lock, which we did earlier. Okay, that's 2 thread flat lock. Who in here does home deck? Okay, so you set your serger up for the flat lock, and has he got a good picture on it? Perfect, look at him go. This is your blind hem foot. So now, Jack, you're going to get a laugh, okay? Because this is how I teach it. All right. If this was my hem, we're going to fold up the hem and drop the drawers. Think about what I'm saying. We're on the wrong side. We fold the hem up, whatever we need that hem, and we would press it. And then we drop it. Drop whatever, if it's the pants, if it's the curtain, we drop it. If I did the flat lock with this right now, I could do it as the ladder stitch or the bridge stitch. Okay? So remember the one I show with the ladder, the straight line? So on the other side of this, I could do that stitch. You can do multiple stitches with the blind hem. It depends on if you are doing what we call down and dirty, which is just finishing it off. So this is the technique, and I'll do it with a different fabric, but this is a technique I would do for pajama pants. So let's just say I'm making fleece pajama pants. So I fold it. There's my S, backwards S. Do you see it? That's how blind hem is folded. This would be how I would make my grandchildren's pajama pants. So I would fold it like this. There's a flange here. The fold butts up to the flange. You guys okay back there? All right, and I'm going to make the stitch length, because this is pretty heavy fabric, a little longer. And my thread got stuck on my foot. We'll get it out in just a minute. When I put the foot on, the tail got stuck in the foot. Okay, so there's my hem. When I turn this, there's my pants. If I wanted this to fold flat and not have that ridge, that's the flat lock. And that's the blind hem foot. So I'm going to hold it up here in front of Jack so you guys can see it. It has It has a flange on it. All right. And this can move. This is different than this foot, which is the lace applicator foot. And look at the difference in the feet size. An 8-thread serger feet are wider. The 4-thread serger feet are narrower. But because they both have the flange on them, if you want to piece on your serger, you can use the hemming foot. The blind head has an H on it. The hemming foot on the 4-thread, and I'll do it when we bring the other machine up. Or the lace applicator on the 8-thread. Does that make sense? So either one has that flange, and I will not have to drop my knife. People ask all the time about dropping the knife. I don't have to. So let me piece 2 pieces of fabric together. I'm going to turn my stitch width to be smaller, and I'm going to cut one of my threads. Now, this is going to throw a loop in, and some of you are going to say, what did you say? And I'll say it more than once. If I cut the thread on the right needle, the number 2 needle, and I use my left needle, the narrowest stitch on my left needle is the same as my widest stitch on my right needle. They meet in the middle. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one I cut. I'm going to cut my and I pulled it out of the needle just like I did earlier today. Aren't you proud of me? Sue Hausman used to tell us when we'd film, don't worry about making mistakes. They need to know you're human. And it's true. All right, let's thread our needle. And some of you might not have been here this morning to see how hard I have to thread the needle from the angle. Oh, it did it quick. Look at that. It is amazing. You know, we're not getting younger anymore. All right, and then I'm going to take that right needle out. If I left that right needle in, it would be really ugly stitching. So you don't want to leave something in you're not using. Okay, now I'm going to piece. So I'm doing narrow. I'm doing 2.5 stitch length, and I need to seat my threads. So that just means get them where they need to go. So all I'm going to do is send a piece of fabric through and then clip that thread that's on top. So, and I'm in A, good. And I'm good to go. So here, and I don't know that I'd use a woolly to piece with, but you never know. I have it on there now, so I'm doing it now. All right, so now, do you see the flanges there? You see my knife is right beside it? It's not going to cut except for the hairy. It didn't cut anything. And it's pieced. So questions about the hemming foot? Yes, you can. But the lace applicator foot is designed for something different, which I'll show you. Yeah, the lace applicator foot is designed for something different. Now here, this is the elastic foot. But it's not just for elastic. So you saw somebody did a treatment with ribbon, okay? You could put ribbon here, but take the screw, which puts tension on it, down to nothing. So what happens with this is it's kind of like an alligator. It opens up and it closes, and it opens up and it closes. And what happens with that is the elastic goes through here and you sew it to the edge of your pants and things while you're doing it. Bye-bye. Would you get me a piece of elastic? Oh, she didn't hear me. I'll have somebody get one. All right. Now, that's elastic, a narrow elastic. If you can get me a piece of narrow elastic. Thank you. She's going to get me one. See, I knew I'd forget something. Okay, so here's the difference here. This is your 4-thread foot. This is your 8-thread foot. So they both have the tensioner on the top when you put the elastic in, and they both have this slider piece. So that slider piece, what happens with that, let's see if I can walk and chew gum, is I'm going to loosen the screw, and it moves to adjust the width of my elastic. So depending on the width of my elastic, do you see it move? I'll tighten it when she brings me a piece of elastic. I'll tighten it with that piece of elastic in there. Yep, just a little piece. Look at, no, that's perfect. Oh, I'm going to make underwear. There's a picot edge. Little do you guys know I'm allergic to elastic, so imagine your world with no elastic. Yeah, it's not any fun. Okay, I'm going to put it up at the picture in just a second so you guys can see, but it's easier if I do it down here so I can see. The elastic is in there, and do you see how it's butted up to that piece? And then this is our tension disc, so we'll turn this to put as much stretch as we want on our piece and send it through. Does that make sense? Now what you have to do is you have to have it back where the needle is, or to get this started, it's not going to be fun because you're pulling on elastic. Somebody's been there. You're pulling on elastic and trying to do that. So this is where you're going to open this up. See if I can do it where you guys can see. And make sure the elastic is back in those needle holes. Do you see where I've got it in the needle holes? So now I'm going to slide this on. Put my piece underneath, and depending on what you're doing, this one might be one where you've already finished your edge of it, or you just finish it with this, and typically the PK will be on the outside. I'm putting it on the inside right now, to the inside of the fabric, but I'll show you why when we get done here. Because if this was underwear bottoms, I would turn it like this and top stitch it. Now, a funny story. Sorry, Jack. Again, you have to hear all of this. So we were videotaping, Sarah Gallegos and I, and it was pretty funny. And so we were talking about elastic and you know, doing stuff with this. And she also loves sergers like I do. And she said something to the effect of making her own undergarments. And I said, well, I don't make my own undergarments. And she was like, no. And I said, and you glue your pant legs when they're too long, and Sarah's not very tall. So I thought, you're going to harass me on film, I'm going to harass you right back. So we just kept going back and forth, back and forth. Well, then I was telling her that, and she knows my husband, we live about 5 miles apart. And she's the host of Love of Quilting. And she knows my husband. And I said, yeah, when Les and I first got married and he saw the price of undergarments, he says, can't you make them? And I said, no, I have my limits. That's the only thing I go to the mall for. But as you see, Patty talked yesterday about making swimwear and things. This treatment is really easy. I didn't struggle, and it's elastic on woven. So a lot you can do with that, yes. You can do it with cover stitch, but your piece is not finished. you can do it, but keep in mind that that raw edge of whatever fabric, unless it's a stretch or a knit or something, is not going to be finished. Yeah, and it's okay. Yeah, yep, yes, ma'am.
What's the maximum width of the elastic that
You can actually go pretty wide. So while this is on here, I'll show you. This will go very wide. Okay, so if I were to measure this, let's just, that's an inch. Yep. Yes, I think that's perfect. I think that's perfect. Oop, wrong. Yep, I think that's perfect. Now, I'm going to show some things and pass them and talk about them. Do you need to see any of these feet I just showed? Like I can put them in the box and send them? Would you like to see them? No? Boring? Boring looking at feet? All right, let me put them back. P3, P5 is back there somewhere. And beading. So, to make it easier up here, they asked me how many sergers I needed. I said just 2, this one and the applaud. I said, because somebody wanted to see the triumph. So I said, you know, take that. I want to show you the sheets. And Jack, I'm not sure what's the easiest way, like this. Is that good? So zoom in maybe on the blind hem one. So what I want you to see is each foot gives you instructions. The Bernina foot book gives you the instructions. The Baby Lock foot book gives you the instructions. So what it says is right needle, which foot to use, the knife unlocked instead of locked. So they're telling you to drop the knife, but you saw I did it without dropping the knife because whatever under that piece is going to cut off. They sent the thread tension it should be the stitch, set it for a 2 thread, which we talked about. Stitch width 4 millimeter, stitch length 3 millimeter, and then it walks you through how to do it. And they give you the picture. Then the beading one, same type of thing. So all of these have instructions for them, and I just like people to know that because sometimes these get thrown away. Now, when it comes to other feet, can you grab a couple of the blue box, the green box there? Jack, can you reach those? Maybe. And I'm going to switch sergers here in a minute. And there are tons and tons and tons of feet. Feet, when we do a foot class, it's usually 2 days long, meaning if we're going to show every single foot. That one, yes. Can you reach it? Oh, he got it. Nope, nope, that one.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So I want to show, because somebody asked, what's the difference between a foot and an attachment? Okay, these are all green. So what serger are we going to use them on? An 8-thread serger. An 8-thread serger, and while he's taking pictures of these, I'll talk to you, because I'm going to move this and bring the applaud in to do some attachments on it. Okay. An 8-thread serger is the flatbed machine. Oh, look, they got me a shelf in here now. So here I'm at the flatbed machine. Oh, thank you, ma'am. Now we have to find the right cords, Jack. I think it's this one. And the power cord. You should see all these cords back here. Did he take my power? No, this is a different cord. Oh, maybe this one? Yes, it is. Okay, we got it. We're almost there. All right, so here, this is a flatbed machine. Attachments attach to the flatbed machine. So if you watch, this is going to attach here. And I talked earlier, but yes, be still my heart. I talked earlier that these will attach to the Jazz 2, the Allegro, the Accomplished 2, and any of our 8-thread sergers, along with the Sashiko. All right. So to use an attachment, I'm going to use these screws. And grab some fabric. There's the squares. Okay, so a couple people ask, how would I know where a hem would be? So you have to determine what size hem would you like. Do you want 1-inch hem? Do you want whatever size? So this piece, and it's not the best one to show because I don't have a right or wrong, but I want you to think about this is the right side up. How's that? Does everybody get that when I say that? Even though it's the same? And I'm folding that hem in. Do you see the fold that I did? Okay. So I'm folding that hem in to get it to go back. Now, do you see where I'm not struggling, but it's not easy? And it's not because of the angle I'm at. There's one box right there called a swing. Do you see it? She's getting it for me. You don't have to see it back there yet. She's getting it. All right. This is a swing. What I'm going to be able to do with the swing is put this. Can you loosen the screw? Do you need a screwdriver? Yes. One moment while we access this. Thank you. All right. This is going to go on here. There are 2 screw holes. And I'm going to do this so you see it. If you will show them this while I put it together. So do you see the piece here? So I'm screwing this in. It's okay. Then I screw in the second one. Now what this does is allow me to move this to the side so that I can put my fabric in it. Does everybody see that? So this is going to attach here and swing in and out to make ease of use to put the fabric in. So if you look at this, here it is attached just like I have here. And all the attachments attached to this. Oh, that's in French. Let's go in English. Because we sell in Canada, we have to have everything in French. So that's why a lot of our things went to universal icons. Okay, so here it is, just attached just like I have it on my machine. And then these 2 silver screws come out. Try not to drop them. It's probably the best thing for me because my hands with arthritis don't work as well as they used to. So I use my swing piece all the time. It's just there and I can attach any attachments that I need to. So I took this piece off with the 2 screws. I lay it here and put the 2 screws back in. Now is it making sense? This is the downturn feller. It's the only feller I allow in my sewing room. Although I have to tell you why I'm screwing these in. During COVID, my husband came down to my sewing room. It was pretty funny. And I was sewing. And he says, wow, that's a small TV. And I had a 45-inch TV like a week later because I had maybe a 20 prior to that. So what I want you to see is there's 4 adjustments here. So I have the 2 screws that attach the swing to this. Does that make sense? So I'm going to swing those and put it here and tighten these down. Then I have this adjustment here. So this adjustment allows me to swing this back and forth. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. Then I can swing it out. And I was going to say he probably has to turn his camera for me. So now I can place my fabric in the downturn feller with ease, much easier than I could before. Maybe because now I'm on camera, so of course it's not going to be the same. You know, if it will, it can, it will, right? It's getting caught underneath. There I go. Come on. Well, we'll do it like I do at home. I fold a big hem and then I turn it back. And I use my tweezers or an awl. I use an awl a lot because you got to get this in that slot. Give me just a minute and I'll show you. I'm not quite there yet. I'd like to get this in there and then I can tell you and make those adjustments. All right, so once you get it in there, I'm in, but see how I'm crooked? All I've got to do is turn this to be where I want it to be and then slide this back. The big thing I do at home is I press a crease in this so that I know exactly where I want it to be. So doing it in the round, I do it interior, not outer. So turn the sleeve or whatever it is you're doing inside out and do it in the round inside of it. Going outside is much harder because you're trying to put everything in. So I don't have a sleeve. May I have my black jacket over there, please? Thank you. So I'll bring it up to the machine. Let me just turn it inside out to show you. To do this, I would do it on the and I just pulled my fabric out. I would do it on the inside of the sleeve. So I would sew in here. If you try to sew this way, you're going to fight your fabric because you're trying to keep it out of your way. Let's do it again. But like I said, if it's pressed, it goes in much easier too. All right, so what do you use a downturn feller for? It's actually a nice way to do a hem, but here's the thing you need to know, especially, and no disrespect to anybody, Judy, no disrespect. But if you're type A, Judy and I have had many classes together. If you're type A, you won't like the downturn feller because your fabric is not finished on the back. I'm letting you know because I've worked with a lot of people with this. Or you watch Frozen and you let it go. You know, because what happens, Yep, you could serge it first or you could turn it. Some people will turn the edge first. Yep, some people will turn the edge first.
Can't you line it up so the back of the cover stitch is right over the edge?
You can, but if your hem is bigger than what your, or smaller than what your fabric is, you're not going to be able to get it there. Because a downturn feller only has so many sizes. So that turn, there's a stop point in this piece here. This is the 1 inch. So that turn, if your hem is different than that, to line that up is not going to be the same. Okay, so now I'm ready to do my decorative hem. And do you see how it just lines it up exactly where I need it? Now for me, what I do is I go to the back and I trim it. But I use blunt end scissors to trim it. But there's the hem. Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is. It's a newer piece that came out because people were struggling to put it on. So it is an optional piece. So the adjustments I showed were the screws here, the screws here, the screws here, and the screw here. Yep. Yes, ma'am. It's for any of the units that have these holes on the top. Sure does. Yep, sure does. Yes, it is. Yep, that's the one you were asking me about. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. It depends on if there's a downturned feller for the size hem that you need. So think about what I'm saying. A downturned feller, and I'll pass it so you can see the back of it on the swing. It folds that fabric over and gives you what you need for your hem, but they're set at a certain size. You can go smaller, but you can't go bigger. So that's a 1 inch, and I did a 1/2 inch hem on the piece.
Why would you use that when you just fold a crease and put it through the machine?
Because some people like the precision of what you get with being able to fold it like that. It's a choice. Yeah, it's a choice. Neither one is right or wrong. It's just really figuring out which way works best for you and which way your brain works. You know, the good thing is we're all made a little different, and some people want that ability to have it folded and do it for them. Yeah, I mean, and it's okay. It may not be for you. It's okay.
Well, no, I just don't see the advantage myself.
Yeah.
That's just me.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. It's speed, you know. Yep. There's lots of reason, but it's okay that it's not for everybody. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just it is. Yep. Yep. It is what it is.
You don't have to press it first.
You do not have to press it first. This is a cotton, which is a little stiffer. Yeah. Yep. Now, just so that you know, yes, I'm at the applaud, but think of it as a cover stitch. So I'm actually going to remove the decorative thread off of it because I just want to use it as a cover stitch machine. And I can disengage the wipers. So now it's just a plain cover stitch, 2-thread cover stitch machine. So what's nice about this is if I wanted to do a belt loop binder, the foot kit that she put up there, did she put the Acclaim or did she put that one? The one on the left is the Applaud. I don't want that one. What? Nope, the big black bag. I'm sorry. What is that one? Triumph. That's the one I'd like. Thank you. I have permission to open it. Okay. So this, I'm gonna put it up here for you, Jack. Sure. I like to make a mess. No, it works for most all of them. I don't know any that it doesn't work with. Yeah. All right, I opened this up because it has feet in it that I want to talk to you about and attachments that I want to talk to you about. And I didn't want to pull every single one of them off the wall. This is a guide. So for those of you that like to be precise with stitching and things, this is a guide. Actually, Chris Tryon designed this or helped design this. And what happens with this is I'm going to attach it to the bed of my machine, and it's going to give me the ability to line things up. Inside of here, you have a little cheat sheet. It's just what it looks like. But the bigger thing you have in the foot kit is the book. So I took this whole book apart and put this in my clear protectant page holders and made a sample of each one of these for my, and you have it in French too, just in case you need it. Okay. But I did a piece with this. So here's the fabric guide. He's going to show you the page. It has 2 holes. So when you look at this, or two places to put the screws, they both will fit in there, and they fit on the back screw holes. One, two. And this is as easy as this works. So this slides, locks in place. I need this to be here for either my seam allowance, my hem, whatever it is. Make sense so far? And that seam is exactly the same all the way across. And you can go up to 5 inches. So if you were quilting, making a grid, anything like that, doing a decorative work, I have a skirt that is in one of the quilt shops, just a plain black skirt, and I did decorative stitching all the way up to 5 inches in the circle around the skirt. And so I did it with this. I set it at a 1/2 inch, I set it at 1 inch, and I kept going all the way up to 5 inches. And this was my lifesaver with doing that. Mm-hmm.
Is it called a seam guide?
It's called the fabric guide. Yep, and it only comes in the 29-foot kit or sold separately. So my foot kit, the original foot kit that I purchased, I think was 22 feet kit, and it wasn't in that. It came out later. So there it is. Would you like me to pass it so you can see it? Yes, ma'am. 5 inch. I don't the what? Oh, the white screws. Yes, you have to watch that you bump the white screws. Yes. Yep. I just lay it over top of it. I actually use Floriani Pink Perfection tape, and I cover the screws up so that things slide over top of them when I went to the 5 inch. Because it has to do with the little nubbies on the side of the screws more than anything. Yep. Now, I'm going to go over another foot. Huh? Oh, I thought somebody was talking to me. And that's the clear foot. So why would we use a clear foot? To see what we are doing. There are multiple clear feet. Doesn't matter whether you have a 4 thread, doesn't matter whether you have an 8 thread, doesn't matter whether you have a baby lock or a Bernina. There are multiple clear feet. So I'm going to grab one. Of course, in the front, right? There's one. So this is a clear foot. If you are putting your binding on, remember my 45-degree angle? You might want to do your binding with the clear foot so that you can see where to turn that fabric to sew your 45. I just know where to look in the holes of my foot, but this makes it a lot easier. So this is a standard clear foot, just like the standard foot that comes on the machine. Yes, ma'am?
Why would you not always use the grip?
Because it doesn't have the same grip as a metal foot. Yep, they're a little slipperier. Yep, a lot of people ask that. Yep. Uh-huh.
I actually use the curved foot for binding because it's shorter.
Yep, I'm getting to the curve one next. Yep. She's talking about the curve foot. And the curve foot comes in clear and standard. See, my bag's in alphabetical order. This bag would make me drink. Of course it is, she says. Oh, this one might not. Oh, there it is. So the curve foot, it's okay to use it with binding, but you don't get as much grip. If you were to cut your toes off, you'd walk around in circles. Okay? Because that's what they did with this foot. They made it shorter. And because it's shorter, it can do curves easy, but it doesn't hold all the fabric that you would want maybe with binding. If you have good luck with it, great. I didn't. I've tried a few feet. I really like a standard, the longer foot. But this foot, look at the difference in length on these feet. I was looking for my standard foot, but it must be back on the, see the difference? So a curved foot helps you to go around. So how many of you have ever made the Christmas tree napkins? Red and green, it's a circle, and then you fold it, make a Christmas tree. This is the best foot to use to do that with the rolled edge. Because all you do is put a little pressure with your finger over here, and it just goes around that circle beautifully. If you had the extension table, some of the extension tables have the hole in it, and you put a thumbtack in there, and the circle goes all the way around with this foot like a breeze. Yes, ma'am?
Are you saying curve with a V like victory?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, curve.
For a second, it sounded like curve, like.
It could be because I wear hearing aids and things don't always come out correctly when I speak, so my apologies.
It could be that I need hearing.
Yeah, here, if you'll show that, Jack. No, it's curve. And it's really made for curves. So here's when I do use the curved foot with binding. I did a scallop binding. Think about it. I did a scallop binding, and it was the perfect foot for scallop binding. Yes, fabulous. Because think about it. You're going like this. It's curved, the whole thing. It's like a big serpentine. Yes, that's when I used the curved foot, because it allowed me to travel. It was an older Eleanor Burns book where you applique all the flowers. It's yellow and white on the front, and they had all kinds of applique flowers. And then the edge was, and I said, am I going to be crazy if I want to do this? And so I was like, no, and now I'm on my second one, actually. So yeah, curved foot for those. So, you know, again, a nice option. Now, let me put these away or I'm going to lose them. All right, what are you two laughing at over there? Sorry, Jack. It comes with the job. All right, now.
What is the difference between the clear foot and a clear overlock foot?
So it depends on what machine you're asking about. So may I borrow your book to see? So I showed, what page was the other one on? Do you remember? Oh. It's a trick question. Thank you. That will help me. Okay. So, this is really good question. Did you purchase this? You're not going to. I'll get you something else to buy. Okay? This is for a 4-thread. Part number BLES4. 4-thread. If it's a 4 in the part number, it's for a 4-thread. You need the 8. Yep, wrong color. You need green. All right, good question. Yeah, no, good question. Now, I'm going to show you something that looks like it needs to, you know, go to the doctor's office. Is that what you guys were talking about? These are only for knits. You can try to do wovens with these, but they don't come out quite the same. Yes, this is a very scary. Yes. So Jack's studying it. Okay. So you weave the fabric in the end piece here and send it through to do your bias or your covered pieces that you want to do on it. There are 7 of these. There's a kit that is just the 7 of them. So if somebody had, I have to take a drink, sorry. If somebody had the 22-foot bag to make it the 29, you buy the set with these. Chris Tryon, again, she's a gem with these. She does things with a serger because I don't have the time that I used to have when I got to play. But she does things with sergers I've never seen happen before. Yep. It is called, I'm going to get you the little holder here. It is called the single fold knit woven bias binder. There are different sizes. This is the 15 millimeter. Now, what's important for all of the bias binder, and this is where we get ourselves in trouble, and I was talking to somebody earlier about it. You must read the instructions. If you cut the fabric different than what it says, it will not work. Some of you are shaking your head because you say, well, I'm not quite sure if that's going to be enough, so I cut it a little bigger and then it doesn't work. Cut it exactly. Doesn't matter which brand of machine you're on, you've got to cut it exactly what it says. And most of the time, it does not work with pre-made bias. You've got to cut your own. Now, bias, and I don't know what people know or don't know, so I try to help everybody at every level. Bias is the 45 degree of your fabric. So what happens, I have a big piece here. If I took this piece of fabric and I folded it in half, that's my 45. That's the most stretch you will get out of a piece of fabric. And again, if you Google Chris Tryon bias binding, she actually has a great video also of how to cut bias binding with no waste. It's a Tryon, Tryon. Yep. Yep, she's got a great video for that. So there's a single fold, there's a 15 millimeter, a 30 millimeter, and don't quote me on it. But there's a whole bunch of different ones of these. Also, I forgot to show you with the fabric guide, because they had one out. This comes with different screws. So the white screws get caught, but it comes with black screws. So look in your little box. Yep. Yep. And I keep my screws in here because I'll lose my screws, and losing a screw is not a good thing. Yeah, I'm telling you. All right. All right. Now let's do a hemmer. You can.
Can you make your own continuous bias, like you can cut it and cut it at that width, or will it not go through that?
Can you make your own cut? Can you?
When you make continuous binding?
Yes. Yeah, as long as it's the width that it's supposed to be, absolutely. Yep. Yep, you sure can. So I know people in my life that used to use their serger just to cut their bias binding. They didn't thread it because they didn't know how, but they just cut their fabric. I know people who use their serger to cut their binding because they didn't know how to thread it, so they just used it as a cutting machine. It's an expensive pair of scissors, you're right. You're right. All right, I'm putting on a hemmer. Now this is different than the feller. Of course it is, Judy says. Okay? It's called a hemmer. Hem. It does. Any of these that I'm putting on like that work with the swing arm. Yep. This one will do the double fold of the fabric. So I'm going to fold it in my hand. Can you see that? It's going to do this. No, you can? Okay. It's going to do this to my fabric. Hold your mouth right, and you're not sitting to the side. You guys are good to me. You're not being too hard on me that I'm sitting to the side. But here's the difficulty with this one. You're upside down. So, see how it turned it? And I didn't do any fancy tricks. When I get started, I've got to have the needle in the fabric. I put a decorative in the looper, and I would normally, if I was sitting in front of it, I'd have my awl right here, and that'll just help to curl it. But I think I can hold my mouth right and do it from this angle. I'm not quite, I've got to move this. This is where you have to play. I've got to move this to the left a little bit. So this is where you take a piece of the fabric, because what I need is both needles to hit in this piece, and it wasn't in the beginning. Now it is. So I'll do it again now that I'm where I need to be. So I need it to both land. So I start the roll, put it in there, send it back. Sometimes I use tweezers to do that. Huh? This is a hammer. Now I'm going to get my book because there are different sizes. Hammer, H-E-M-M-E-R. Yes, when you're not gifted in height, you do use those. Yep, okay. Hammer, H, they're in alphabetical order. Okay, here we go. Plain hammer, 1/4 inch. 1/2 inch hammer, the plain, okay. Then we have the downturn fellers. So here are the sizes of these: 1/4 inch, 5/8, 1 inch. And this is based on you positioning this to have it line up where those needles land on the fabric. And then if I turn it to the other side, remember I said I did decorative, that would be the hem. This would be the wrong side. Somebody have a question? I can't hear. No? Okay.
You could do it with just one needle and then you have one line of.
You got that right. You sure can. Then you can use either side you want. Yep. And I'm being very careful to put these.
So that one folded it up there.
Yes, it did. But on the wrong side.
Okay, that's called
Hammer. Right. You have a more finished look with that one. That's absolutely correct. So on the piece, and I can pass it so that you can see it, the decorative thread is in the looper. These aren't being used right now. So the only decorative thread that's on here is in the looper, and that became your hem.
what size is that one?
1/2 inch. Yep, 1/2 inch. Now, I'm going to talk about 2 more that I'm not going to put on the machine, but I'm going to talk to you about because they would go on your 8 thread or your 4 thread. The first one is a Teflon foot. So why would we use a Teflon foot? Cork? Huh? Faux, that's vegan leather. Yep. Huh? Oilcloth. Vinyl. Yep. Vinyl. Where's your vinyl bag? Did you use the Teflon foot on it? Yep. So she did a serger bag that's vinyl, and she used the Teflon foot on it. She put the vinyl over it so nobody could touch her stitching and get it dirty. Like my sister-in-law's furniture. Okay? But here's what I want you to see on this foot that people miss that are on a lot of feet. And again, for multiple brands. Look at the hole in the front of that foot. You could do ribbon. You can do all kinds of things through that. Also, this is a great foot for me to show you why a foot is engineered the way that it is. Do you see all these lines? Each one of those lines represents a needle. Okay, so I know that this is my farthest left needle, and I know this is my farthest right needle. So if I'm positioning something, I know what needle and where it's going to hit. Even when I go back to this hole back here, I have 2 lines there for my overlock needles. So we have 3 needles here for the cover and chain, and 2 needles here. Make sense? So that's huge that you can send ribbon and things through that. The Teflon coating is on the back of this. This is one of those that you don't want to run through your machine with nothing underneath it very often, because you will wear the Teflon. It's a coating, so you will wear that. So how are we going to take the threads out of the machine? Who remembers?
Run the wheel back.
Turn the hand wheel backwards. So let's lift our foot, turn the hand wheel backwards, 1 full rotation, and there they are. Put the foot down and then cut them. Yep, that's the best way to take it out. All right, now the other foot I pulled out is a Martha Pullen foot. So what do you think it is? It is for heirloom sewing. This is a pin tuck foot. Okay, so what happens with this is you have a little piece that is going to snap on your machine. Yep, that snaps on your machine. And this is a raised pin tuck. So yeah, it looks like we're going to operating school again. Okay, so this goes in there, and then when you cover stitch over it or stitch over it, it's raised up. And most of the time this is used with a cover stitch, but it's a pin tuck. Now I'm going to turn this over. You can also make a corded pin tuck. Okay. Lots of machines can do a corded pin tuck. What's that one? Oh, see, I knew that was the last one over there. All right. Now here, if I wanted to make a corded pin tuck, let me bring the sheet out so Jack can get it on his camera. Would you like it in French or English? Oh, I did pull out the English one. Okay. This is a corded guide for the applaud. So everything I've showed you for right now is not just for the applaud. Even though I'm on the applaud, it's for any of the 8 threads. Some of them are for the 4 thread. This is only for the applaud. So what this does is gives you the ability to have cords guided through on your machine, and it will hold them in place while you're going. So he's got that page. I'm going to turn to the next page. So here's the unit. So if you bring the camera over here, Jack, I would put this here, and you'll see 2 holes there, and the cord goes through that. Just like, I'm going to bring the picture up close for you. Just like this. See the cord going through it? So you have a choice of a foot or an attachment piece. Or you saw that I did it without an attachment with what foot? Yeah. Piping or the cording foot, the P foot, P5 or P3, both do that. Which one? So the applaud can use different feet, yes. And we have, can I have the applaud foot bag over there to answer her question? Thank you, Vanna. So the applaud foot bag in this doesn't have that foot, but you could use it. This has all your attachments plus the Teflon foot in here and in French. Yeah, so yes, there's a different ankle that attaches the other feet. This one only fits this foot. No. So this, let me explain what she's asking. This foot is only for the applaud, but there's another ankle that will hold others. The attachments fit here, the 8 thread sergers, the sashiko, the jazz, the allegro, the accomplish. So like the downturned feller, all of those that I showed. Yes. Yep, go ahead.
This morning you had the one that did it like a picture, like a crab picture. That ball thing.
No, no, that's on this machine. Those are the wipers.
Those wipers that with that machine.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I can't have.
Yes, you can. They'll sell you the applaud. Janice will sell you. So what she's asked, let me turn it on. What she's asking about, she's calling these pinchers. Watch them. They go back and forth. There's nothing in them at the moment, but they go back and forth. I had them disengaged. All right?
Now, is that an extra foot?
No, that comes on the machine. That, only the applaud. Yeah. Now, here's the other thing I want you to think about when it comes to feet. And I'm going to find where I buried the foot here. The standard foot that comes on the machine. Well, I put it back on. Let me grab it. It's in the other room. No, it's not. I thought I left it here. Hold on. I'm looking for a foot. They're going to come back here and go, she's not coming back. It's here somewhere. All right, let me put this one away. Give me just a moment to put the foot away because I do not want to lose anything. Okay. No, it wasn't in. No, it was a standard foot on the other machine. It's okay, we'll find it. Oh, here it is. I knew I left it here. Okay, this standard foot. Let's look at this standard foot. So a standard foot comes on every single serger. Doesn't matter what brand, you get a standard foot on it. Again, you'll see differences just by manufacturer, but some of them have the same type of thing. This has the needle position. This is for the 4 thread, so it only has 2 needle positions available. Do you see that? Okay. It has the lines in the front of it. Those are your needle positions. It also has that slot here to send things through, thin ribbon, or the slot here that send things through. So somebody was asking about that. So yes, this foot is different. This foot is only for the applaud, and I can take the inserts out and put different inserts in to run different threads through it, and different cords through it, and different ribbons through it. So yeah, you knew it. Look at Vanna's she's on the ball. So these are called cord and taping inserts. So you're asking about cording for the applaud. These are the ones you want, which have different openings that accommodate what this foot has built into it. So you can have those here, and these slide. You saw I just slid it in and out. These also slide in and out. So depending on what you're doing. Now, they're color-coded to go with the instruction sheet. So each foot or insert has a color on it, and the instruction sheet shows you that. Now they're clear. So you have to be careful with these. So I have a giant little girl, because it's pink, okay? Little girl diaper pin. Large safety pin. And I put all of them on that and hook them all, because to lose them, you're buying a whole new kit. No, they are not sold separately. So you want to be real careful with it. It's like the purple thing. How many have I replaced of the purple things? So these are pretty cool for different widths. Now, showing you that because she asked about cords and stuff for the applaud. You also have a couple things. How many of you quilt? Okay. So you have ditch stitching guides. So this is a ditch stitching guide. Do you want to stitch in the ditch? This is a guide that goes in here. And now I have a flange in the middle. So where's my blue and green and brown? Oh, somebody liked it. I had my green. It's kind of a turquoisey green and brown table runner. Is it under there? Thank you. You're so good to me. I was hiding it on myself. Okay. This table runner has every single stitch the applaud would do. You could do this with the cover stitch on the Triumph. So all I did was piece the pieces together with the serger, and it was just scrap. Pressed it, put it with a piece of batting, and then put my back on. I started in the center and did these, and it's not a fusible back, but if I had had a fusible back, I would have used a batting. I would have used a fusible because that keeps things in place. But I just started in the center and went whee, and I didn't do straight lines because I don't sew straight, but I can do really good curves. So it's a curvaceous. So with this, if I wanted to follow these, I could use the stitch guide on the left or on the right, or both the Triumph and the Applaud have a quilt guide. It's not necessarily considered a foot, okay, but I can talk about it. But it's a quilt guide. So I could take my quilt guide and have the same curves going over the whole thing the same. But I like to be a little more creative than that and have movement. So keep that in mind. And the other thing is taking out, and I'll pass this so you can see it. Just don't trip over the binding. The other thing to think about is when you look at this, I used a lightweight yarn. So it's in one wiper. Yep. The turquoise. In the left one, you get a gold star. Always the heavier in your left, okay? Now, so that's to answer her question. Now with feet and the standard sergers, a couple things that I like people to know is every foot has a purpose, but it doesn't mean you couldn't use it for something else. So don't be afraid, like I said, to use the hemmer for something different than hemming. Now is he gonna yell at me? I'm gonna pass through. We're okay, you think? All right, I want to show you these if you weren't here this morning. When I piece, I use a seam gauge to figure out that 1/4 inch with my lace applicator foot. Set your piece on the lace applicator foot right up against the knife. Don't move it to the left. Put it right up against the knife. And then what will happen is you'll be able to get your, oh, there you are, get your gauge to know exactly where the 1/4 inch is. So if I was being really persnickety with this piece and needed that 1/4 inch, which I wasn't, I would have found my 1/4 inch. I know exactly where my 1/4 inch is on my Triumph. I don't have to think about it. I know exactly where to set it up. So I wanted to show you those. The other thing, this is not a foot, but it is extremely important. Thread nets, okay? And a thread net is important for a couple reasons. And one is, and you see one on the thread here, the thread wants to do what's called puddle. So it comes down and it starts getting caught underneath that spool, and it's not good. This one has a tapered edge on the bottom. This one does not. So if it got caught underneath this, the thread's going to start bobbing up and down and you'll hear it. They've put this around the gray piece. You either need to put it around the gray or you need to put it through the spool holder. And the reason why is it will start moving up the unit as you're stitching. Does that make sense? Okay. Oh, she's folding the binding.
They make a little sticker that you can put on the front of the machine that has lines on it that are different color.
There are stickers out there. They're aftermarket stickers. Yep, there are stickers out there. Yep. Don't mind me. All right, I'm listening. Somebody said question.
The knife is about 3 millimeters wide.
I've never measured it. Have you?
I have.
Some people measure. Yeah. So 3 millimeter.
About 3 millimeters.
Mhm.
Each side back of the knife or
You're lining it to the left edge.
As close to the.
Right to the left edge. That sounded really bad. Okay, let me move this out. And I'm going to show you this, and I want you to think about, and they are out of the pattern, but I want you to think about this piece. So this is where I use the flange on the foot, or I could use the quilt guide, different things to create this. This was done on the Applaud. It could have been done on any cover stitch machine. It could have been done on a sewing machine with decorative stitches over these lines. But you need something that's going to give you that guide down that piece. So if I wanted to follow the edge of the turquoise fabric, I would use this and go along. Do you see I'm following along the turquoise fabric, which would put the stitch on the turquoise. So that's one thing with feet. I wanted to show you that one. Put that back up there, I'll lose it. The other thing is Baby Lock and Bernina both have projects on their website. So you want to go and check those out. They both have Facebook groups that have projects for different things. And probably one of my favorite projects that Linda Piccini did, and she did it on the Accomplish, but it can be done on the Serger also, and she talks about it in her instructions, is a backpack. And what she did was she took webbing like this, and think about the bias binder attachment. She used this stretch elastic through the bias binder attachment, and it took her a little bit to figure out which size was right for what size elastic. And she stitched this down with the serger and did it on both edges of this to give a nice treatment to the edge of the webbing. You could do that with regular bias binding and just put a treatment, like I do bags, and I like the webbing because it's strong, but I don't like the webbing because it's never the color I want. So I usually cover it with fabric and then I'll bind the edges of it. So that's something to think about too, that you can use the bias binder on things like this, that you just slide this up and add the binding to it. The easiest thing to try a bias binder on is an apron, because you have nice clean edges. And somebody asked about turning corners. Chris, again, she's a pro at turning the corners. She uses an awl and she sets her corners and uses things like a Roxanne's basting to get that corner laying how she needs it. It's a glue. So she'll get that corner where she needs it when she gets up to it. But things with that, she'll say, just curve the corner when you're learning. Don't beat yourself up trying to turn those corners, because it's not the easiest thing to do is to turn a corner with an attachment, all right? Now, the other thing that I want to make sure everybody knows about are double-eyed needles or a hooker. Oh, where'd she go? I think it's a hooky. A hooky, sorry. Yep. So somebody asked, how do you manage those threads at the end? Are you concerned about managing those threads at the end? I don't, because I secure them multiple different ways. So this morning we talked about the Eileen's stop fray. The other thing is you can bury those threads. So what the hooky does is it gives you the ability to weave this into your threads and then pull those threads and bury them in your seam. So that's one way. The double-eyed needle is what I've used for many, many years. So this is nice because you can weave your ribbon in with it. So in that flat lock that we saw this morning, you can weave your ribbon in with it, or you can bury your tails. It comes in this kit. So this is a Serger kit with all kinds of tools. It does have a seam ripper that is one that you can put the blade back in and replace that blade. So questions, and then I'm going to cover just a couple more. Yep, we're doing good. A couple more things. Questions? All right, is everybody learning?
Yes.
Uh-huh. The one I showed is for the applaud. So depending on which one you have, we can go out and I can show you what might be available for yours. Which brand do you have? You have the applaud, so that is the one that you'd want for your applaud. It does not.
And then those little ones that were the different that you passed around.
Yep. So you can put ribbon in them and stitch the ribbon down. You can put cord in them and stitch the cord down. There's lots of things you can send through those little openings in the foot with that. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's afraid of dropping the knife or cutting their fabric, any foot that has a flange that will butt up to that cutter. So when the cutter is here, we don't want to cut. So any foot, and all brands have a type of foot that has a flange, whether it's a hemmer foot, the lace applicator foot. The lace applicator foot's actually made to do fabric and lace, put them together and do the flat lock, and then they open up. So you're not cutting any of your lace off. That's what that foot was originally made for, but a lot of us piece with it because of that flange. Yeah. Uh-huh. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Nope. And I don't know if they... Yep, nope, it won't. I've done it for years. I've done it for years. And here's the other thing, and I'm sure that Lisa has done it here, the Serger Lisa. I think it's Serger Lisa. Yeah. I did get it right. I'm sure she's done it, but we do the wave stitch for our zippers too. So putting the zipper out and doing the wrong sides together, do the wave stitch, and then make a beautiful wave stitch. So there's lots of treatments with your zipper. Because of that groove in that foot, it just makes it really nice for us to be able to do zippers. The flowers on my skirt, I can do that. Nope, you're good. We'll bring it up here for you. Thank you for the reminder. You know, questions get answered and then I get in a fog myself. Okay, this is just lightweight. It's not a duck and it's not, you know, just a plain cotton. It does have a little bit of lycra in it. So it has some stretch to it. So two things happen with this. One is I like to match the color with the fabric. I've done a black and white one that turned out really, really nice. So white fabric with black thread. That turned out really, really nice. This was the first one that I did. And I did a width of fabric twice with these when I first set it up to figure out how to do it. I did the narrow hem on the sides. So my sides here, remember the narrow hem? That's the flat one, okay? Here, same color in the top and in the bottom. On the black and white one, I did black on top and white on the bottom, okay? So why? I just did. I just did. I did not put the stitch length real tight. I wanted it more open. I wanted to see the stitch. The beauty of my husband is he will say things to make me really think. And one of the things he said when I was doing something like this was, you put all that work in it and then you don't see what you really did. And he said, why not show what you're doing? Because the first one I did a rolled edge and I was like, nah, it's okay, but it's too heavy. So when I did this, I went, okay, we really see it now. So I did that narrow hem on both sides. Then I did the chain stitch with gathering. So a single needle, gathering foot, differential feed, all the way up. Whatever machine you're on, you want it the highest you can get. Huh? And the stitch length was longer. Yep. So, and I didn't do it the 4 because I needed it to stay together while I was sewing it around, so I probably did a 3. All right. And then I gathered it. And I gathered it with fusible thread in the bobbin. Oh. So then I fused it in place and top stitched it with my sewing machine. Now, I'm going to throw another wrench in with what I did. I'm a quilter. So I didn't turn this to sew this down. I free motion quilted them.
Can I have your brain?
Too funny. So a couple things also. They do carry the piping in different sizes. They have really big, they have really small, they have medium. Okay? They have it in packages like this. Somebody asked about these. You buy the key fobs and you need this clamp piece, and that's what these are put on with, the little key fobs. This one was done with the quilt guide. So I measured, I put my first one down, I measured, then I put the quilt guide, I tightened it up, and then I just continued across. This is done with foam. So if you notice the samples, they're done with different weights of things because I want you to see that it will go pretty thick. Years ago, we didn't have that height that we have on our sergers now. And a lot of them, even when you lift the foot up, you have that extra height underneath it. So the foam actually quilts beautifully and gives you a nice texture. I put it inside. I think I did. Yep. You know, you got a match coming and going. So this has the piping done as a tissue holder, all done on the serger. So if I turn it inside out, yep. Yep, I could have done a wave across here, but there's how this was done. And then when you turn it inside out, you have a completely serged tissue holder. And then this one is just like I showed you on the serger earlier. This was done with what foot?
Beading.
Cording, yep. But see how it's wider? The zipper is shown more. So I only used the right needle, not the left, which shows more zipper tape. Okay. And then this little piece here is done with the rolled edge. Yep. And then the pieces here were pieced together with the serger. So again, like Janice said earlier, a serger isn't just for garment construction. And there are sergers that do everything, and there are sergers that do some things. And somebody asked, and she was sitting over here, and I don't know if she's still here, how do you know it's the right serger? Was that you? No? Okay, I thought so. Yeah, she's behind you. And the thing is, now that you see what a serger does, it's going to help you to answer that question easier. Because do you want the creative side of it? Do you want the construction side of it? Do you want I want it all feet? Okay, because there are a lot of feet. Now, there's no time in the world to cover every foot, but I'm going to go through here in a nutshell. How's that for an answer? There's the baby lock, and here's the Bernina one. Oh, I had the pay. Huh? It really depends on what application I'm doing because my standard foot is on my machine most of the time till I have a specific application. So I have the two books here. Both companies have elastic foot. Both companies have beading, piping, cording, gathering, blind hem, clear foot, cover stitch foot. Cover stitch foot is specifically for the cover stitch, not used with the 4 thread. So when you hear a cover stitch. So as you look through here, there, when it comes to what each one has, they pretty much have the same thing. You just need to find the specialist out there to see what foot, you're looking for, what technique you're looking for. I showed you some of the attachments. There are so many more. It just depends on what you're going to do.
I know the feet aren't interchangeable, but do you know which of the attachments work on the Bernina that are baby lock?
None. None of the attachments, they have their own.
Or like the portable under thing does fit.
Oh, then you're asking me something I don't know. You'd have to ask Janice or somebody. Lisa, do you have a minute? There. Right, but so here's the thing. If I don't know the answer to it, I'm not going to tell you yes or no. I'm going to tell you usually no until I get somebody that knows. They're asking if the baby lock attachments fit the Bernina.
There might, I think there's one or two.
Some of
Well, I don't know off the top of my head. I know there's like one or two that you can transition over. I do not know which one.
Yeah,
So you have to
and I don't either.
figure out involved because I can't remember.
Yeah, we'll pull him out of the back when we release the Kraken. The cover stitch foot? Yes. So let me turn in here. That's okay. So the chain cover stitch foot is here. It's actually narrower than the standard because it doesn't accommodate your two back needles, which are your overlock needles. So it's thinner.
What, if you're doing a combination stitch with the cover stitch and the overlock,
Mm-hmm.
and what would make it not do the cover stitch while you're doing the overlock?
Usually it has to do with the chain looper. So if the needles are doing what they need to do, but it's not forming a stitch, it's usually the cover stitch looper, that thread that goes all the way over to the left side of the machine, isn't long enough. So rethread. Yep, just rethread that one usually.
Sometimes if you put it on backwards, when you go through the hole.
Oh yes, you want to make sure you go in the hole, not around the hole.
Right.
Yep. I always say it goes in the rabbit hole.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. All right. Mm-hmm.
Is there a general purpose foot and a standard foot?
Same.
Okay.
Same. Yep. So here we have the curved. We talked about this curved clear, curves the metal foot. Yep, same on that. Yep, those don't change. These are the knit. Remember, if it has that medical looking device attached to it, they're knit. We talked about the double fold bias and the elastic. I showed that. I showed the swing. So everything's in this book. I'll set this book out there by the machine. So if there's something you're interested in, there is an attachment different than the fabric guide. There's an older style fabric guide and the newer style fabric guide. Some of you might have this one. This is the new one that I showed.
Is there a difference?
It's longer. Yeah, it will go the 5. Yep, it will go 5 inches. And the way it locks into place, it has a locking mechanism where the other one locks with the 2 screws. Yep, yep.
Does the swing guide work with the double fold knit?
Yes, yes. Yep, yep. So I think we covered a large amount of feet. Well, my question is, did everybody learn something?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to stick around because I'll be cleaning up. So if there's something that I didn't show you and you have questions about, you are getting out of class just 15 minutes early, so not too bad. I don't know. Does Janice need to talk to them before I release the Kraken? Okay. All right, well, I'm just checking.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.